Here's what it looks like setting a boundary on a non-narcissistic person.
Hey, can we slow things down a little bit? I think we're moving kind of fast.
Yeah, you're right. We are moving kind of fast, aren't we?
Yeah, just a little. Like we can still see each other and go out and stuff like that. Just take things a little slower.
I completely understand. Like let's do it that way.
Now here's the difference between setting a boundary on a narcissist. Hey, can we slow things down just a little bit?
Now, why would we want to slow things down? Things are going good, aren't they?
Yeah, they're going good. I feel like we're just moving a little fast. You don't think so?
I mean, things are moving fast because we like each other. I mean, I think we love each other. Like, shouldn't things move fast if you know what you want?
Yeah, I guess so.
Then why slow things down if it just means getting to the finish line quicker? I don't know.
Yeah, I can see that.
What is going on, beautiful people? Welcome to another episode of A Narcissist Explains. I am self-aware narcissist Lee Hammock, also known as Mental Healness from TikTok, Instagram, YouTube. You know where to find me. If this is your first time seeing my face, my platform is dedicated to bringing awareness to narcissistic personality disorder and also, in the process, validate the victims and survivors of said disorder. This series right here is dedicated to taking my TikToks and my YouTube shorts and making them longer, expounding upon them, because you only get 60 seconds on those platforms. So the way you just watched was about the subtle differences between a healthy boundary, like a normal person respecting a boundary, and a possible or toxic narcissistic person intruding upon that boundary to get what they want from you. And noticing the subtle differences early on in the relationship can prevent you and save you from possibly a lifetime full of grief, because narcissists like to set the precedence for the relationship at the beginning of the relationship. I know what you're going to say. Hey, Lee, everybody sets the precedence in the beginning, and that's what every normal person does, and not every person, Lee Hammock, is a narcissist. I know that. Trust me. I'm just speaking from the narcissist perspective because that's the perspective that I can speak from. So, narcissists like to set the precedence in the beginning of the relationship. So, if you allow a narcissistic person, like in that video right there, can we slow down a little bit? Why would we want to slow down if it just means us getting there faster? That doesn't make any sense. Boundary pushed. And that's just the start of it. Next boundary they push, you'll say something like, "Look, I don't want to meet your kids until we're at least 3 months into this relationship." 2 weeks in, you're meeting the kids. You're at the birthday party or something like that. You're meeting the parents and stuff like that. Early on, narcissists like to go ahead and push every single boundary that you set, and just to establish, a sort of dominance in the relationship. So if you let them knock down those boundaries early on in the relationship, what do you think they're gonna be doing throughout the entirety of the relationship? You've already set the precedence. Hey, no cheating on me. Well, you let me push down every other boundary. Let me go and violate this one. And then if you forgive them for cheating on you, guess what? Another boundary. And it escalates. They start cheating with people closer to you. Your best friends, your cousins, your family members, your sister, your brother. People like that. And that's how, literally, that's how it works right there. They will literally go at you just like that and have you, like I say, pushing those boundaries. And if you allow them to push the boundaries, it progressively gets worse. It just does. I know y'all was like, it gets worse sometimes, like not all the time. Like sometimes it gets worse, sometimes it doesn't. Nope, all the time it gets worse. It just does. It 100% gets worse. And I tell people that all the time, and people are just like, nah, you should, like, it's just because we're forgiving. We're just so forgiving. Being too forgiving in a relationship can get you taken advantage of. And that's just simple fact. Point blank period fact. I know y'all be like, that's not fact. This is maybe facts for you, Lee, but it's not facts for us. You know what I mean? So in situations like that, I feel like you gotta kind of get to the point where when you're dealing with a narcissistic person, that you, or, you can help, like say, when you're dealing with a narcissistic person, that you set boundaries, or not just a person in general, to spot the red flags early on, that you set boundaries early on in the relationship and you stick to those boundaries. Because what's the point of setting boundaries if you are not going to stick to them? You know what I mean? What is the issue? Like, what is the point of setting a healthy boundary or setting any type of boundary at all if you're not going to stick to it at all? Like, literally, people don't, like, if you don't, they will run over top of you and take advantage of the whole entire relationship. And noticing that little subtle change and standing up for yourself early on in the relationship, like I said, can save you a possible lifetime full of grief and stress and things like that. Because if you don't stand up for yourself early on, when you get married and when you have kids, you'll get ran over then. And that's just how it go. I know y'all just like, man, I don't want to hear that, Lee. Like, everybody's not going to be like that. I know everybody's not like that, but you have to establish some boundaries for yourself early on in a relationship, or you will get punished later on. You just will. And like the red flag, that's the red flag right there. Not respecting any boundaries that you set. Hey, I don't want you liking that person's. Is that your ex that you were in love with and almost married? Yeah, that's her. Well, can you please, like, why are y'all still friends? Like, can you please remove her from your stuff? No, I'm not gonna do that. You should trust me. Boundary violated again. You just become like narcissist people tend to be habitual line steppers, habitual boundary violators, habitual do anything to make us feel better about ourselves. You see how that works? If you, like I said, narcissistic people do that to you, and then like if you don't stand up for yourself, if you don't establish boundaries in the beginning, in the end of the relationship or the middle or whatever, you get taken advantage of. And that's what I'm here for, to just try to provide a little perspective from my viewpoint. Because I know a lot of people get confused, and a lot of people ask me what kind of red flags you should look for in the beginning. That's one right there. If you set a boundary, if they show up late, if they show up 45 minutes late with no excuse to your first date, red flag, boundary violation. They can't respect your time. So if they can't respect your time in the beginning, will they respect your time later on? No. Would they respect your time when if y'all get divorced and you have to drop they're supposed to be dropping the kids off at 6 o'clock and they show up at 8:30? No, that's precedence from the beginning of from the very beginning of the relationship. They showed up late. They're always going to show up late. Keep boundaries about yourself, because like just this subtle difference. That's why I tell people to slow down in the beginning. Whether or not you're dealing with a narcissist or not, it really is kind of irrelevant. If you slow everything down in the beginning of the relationship, it doesn't even matter who you're dealing with. Like, you have to slow yourself down. You have to take, the situation has to, slow it down, let itself work itself out. And I know you get the love bombing process is tough. You got to deal with the love bombing, and you got to deal with the, all the other stuff you deal with when you're dealing with a narcissist person. That still does not matter if you slow it down. People ask me, how long does the love bombing process last? As long as it lasts, as long as it lasts. If you can't say the right thing to the wrong person. Speak up for yourself. Have a little power early on in a relationship. You can't, like I said, you cannot say the right thing to the wrong person. You won't run off the right person. You can't run off the right person by saying the wrong thing. You just can't. They'll respect your boundaries, you'll respect theirs, and then you can keep moving forward. But like a lot of times I say, people just they get ran over, and then they blame people later on. And like, well, I didn't know they were narcissists. They from the beginning of the relationship, I didn't know. Blah blah blah. This blah blah. Slow it down. That's all I can say. Slow everything down. Get your mind together. Get your topic together. Get your life together, and you'll be all right. Just take it slow. Watch them for the boundaries. Keep your boundaries strong. Keep your boundaries safe. Anyways, y'all, I'm truly appreciative of everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of the Narcissist Code. I'm so unbelievably thankful. Anyways, if you haven't liked and subscribed, see you next time. Peace.